You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're glad that you're listening today, and we are broadcasting, Tony, live from the Concierge Landscape Studios. I from the Extreme Exteriors mobile broadcasting unit, powered by Skype. We'd love to hear from you today. We want you to give us a call. And Tony, the number?
Sure. The number is 651-289-4488. Call us or email us at gene@ncmgi.com.
And we've heard from a couple of folks already today by email. So either way is just fine in communicating with us. Mm-hmm. Well, we've got a couple of stories, like we said, that we're watching. Tony, let's deal with this one next, and that is from the town of Tenney in Minnesota.
All right.
This was in the Star Tribune, and I think it was front page here just earlier this week, and I thought it was real interesting. I think there's some lessons that can be learned if you're an HOA. You've got Tony. If you've got that article, could you read that for folks?
Sure. The headline is "Teeny Tenney says ta-ta," and there's a picture of the population sign. The city of Tenney, population 6. This tiny town of Tenney is no more. A majority of the town's voters, there are only 3 of them, have decided to dissolve Tenney, which has shared the title of Minnesota's smallest city with Funkley. The votes won't be officially counted until Wednesday. Now that cracks me up. There's 3 votes, but they won't be officially counted till Wednesday. But
I think Tenney's had a big problem with that hanging Chad.
Is that what it was?
It did back in
or perhaps
Florida.
It's undue influence.
It's taking a lot of time for them to do a recount.
Perhaps they're worried about undue influence by their city manager. Anyway, but City Clerk Oscar Gunther and Mayor Kristen Schwab said Tuesday that they voted to dissolve the town. The other vote, Gunther's sister, was a no. So 2 out of 3 voted to dissolve the town. She voted that way because she knows how hard I've worked to keep the town alive, the city clerk said. Dissolving the city...
It probably wasn't then, Tony. It doesn't sound like she was even not in favor of dissolving. This was just a way for her to say to her brother, you've worked hard.
Yeah.
I want to say that.
Support you.
Yeah. Okay.
Dissolving the city means that Campbell Township will take over the city's 2 buildings, a church that was renovated into City Hall and another church renovated into a community center, along with 4 vacant lots. Gunther said he'd like to keep the 2 mowers and a weed whip to maintain those lots, but Schwab said that's unlikely. The little more than $10,000 in the city coffers also will be absorbed by the township. We're going to try to get some landscaping and culvert work done before that happens, Schwab said.
Wow. Stop. For a small town of 3 people to have $10,000 in their coffers?
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That means they haven't spent money for a few years, or they're really assessing quite a bit from the 3 folks.
3 people. But they're going to spend that money, aren't they, before Campbell Township absorbs them?
Yep. Yeah, that's what they want to do. It goes on to say the downside to the merger, we will lose control of our city. That's what Schwab said. The upside is that it will be someone else's problem.
Oh, man. Well, I can certainly understand this is a tiny city with very few residents, and I'm sure it's been a struggle to keep it going.
Oh, I know. And, it is something that when I was reading it, Tony, it reminded me of so many HOAs, too. The first one is, and I think there's some lessons that can be learned. The first one is... that first statement that they made, they said when they dissolve the city doesn't mean that everything goes away. All of a sudden now, Tenney, Minnesota, now goes under the auspices of the Campbell Township.
Yeah, that's right.
And the thing that it reminded me for homeowner associations, sometimes we've heard stories of homeowners who say that they think that their board of directors or HOA is being heavy-handed and are just putting on too many rules.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is that even if the homeowners association were to go away, chances are most of those rules that are in place probably would not go away. You know, you stop and think about it. An association may have a restriction on how many pets, how
Sure.
many dogs that you have in your home.
Sure.
Most cities have a restriction
That's
on how many
true.
pets.
That's true. That's true.
They will have homeowner associations will have a restriction on parking.
Mm-hmm.
People hate that.
Yes,
But
they do.
tell me one city that doesn't have a parking restriction.
True.
You know, so the first lesson is just because you end up dissolving, that's not going to necessarily give you more freedom.
No, it
you're
isn't.
going
And
to still find that you're under someone else's authority.
I want to point out, too, that most, not all, well, some association documents will actually lay out the process for dissolving your association.
Yes, they
It's a possibility.
yes, and that can take place. That can take place with a city or a small township here too.
Sure, that's right. I have to read this quote
Okay.
from Oscar Gunther, who was the city clerk. He said that they tried to promote Tenney and get more people to move there in an effort to build its population. He said it's located near the North Dakota border. Oscar said, people would say, you're in the middle of nowhere. I would say, we're in the middle of everywhere. Now,
You have
that
to
was
like the
a good advertising slogan, I think.
Yes, it is. But they only had 3 bumper stickers, so I guess it didn't get much.
That message was not
Much
spread
coverage.
very far. Oh, dear.
That's the whole issue, isn't it? They say there
Yeah.
just aren't enough people
Yeah.
around to run
Yeah.
the town.
Yeah.
And again, that happens with
You make a
associations.
very good point about, so it is possible to dissolve your homeowners association, but there's always going to be some authority. If we're going to live with each other, if we're going to live in a society, and especially if we're going to live in close quarters, there's going to be some regulation and there's going to be some rules so that we can all just get along.
Yeah. And, the other thing that I would like to, I guess, glean from this for HOAs, too, to remember is that you need people to make things work.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
There is no government that we have, no matter what the size, no matter how small or how large, that doesn't require the active participation of its members and citizenry.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And the more you are involved, the more people that are involved, the better that government is going to serve you.
Yeah. Yeah, and anytime you don't get involved means that you're abdicating your will and your freedom to
Yep.
someone else
Yep.
who will gladly decide on your behalf.
That's right. That's right.
And to me, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we wish the people of Tenney, Minnesota well, and we say now congratulations to Funkley, Minnesota, for now having the moniker of smallest town in the, state of Minnesota. And with that, let's take another break. And when we come back, let's talk about in Utah, the requirement of a homeowner association's registry. What is that all about and what is it going to do? We'll take a break and we'll be back after this.